Good afternoon. This is Timothy Stanford. You're watching Testimony TV. We got a treat for you right now. I'm so excited because this thing that we're doing came out the sky, or should I say a blessing. I am with the one and only master artist, John Nelson. How you doing this evening?
Good.
Right now I'm just looking around. We're in his studio, and I'm telling you, if you love art, you love anything that's designing, culturistic, this man right here is history in the making. This is very easy. Let's start from the beginning and let everybody know who you are and where you've been and where you're going.
Actually, it's a long story. From Washington, D.C., born and raised. I grew up in Northeast D.C. and we large family from the South, 17 people in the house. At some point you had to find a little space in a big house like that with a lot of people.
Right.
My space was drawing and sketching and whatever I get my hands on.
Right.
It was like a little hobby when I was little. My mother was always excited about it because it was so easy for me to create something on this piece of paper.
Right.
So that kept my attention for a long time, up till when I was about 14 years old. Then all of a sudden it became something more than just putting images on a piece of paper.
Right.
So what I found out is that I was, for some reason created here, brought here to do what I do, and that is draw pictures of black people.
Right.
I've always been an artist that lived in a black community. I didn't know anything about art because I'm self-taught.
Right.
And my whole life has been around visuals. What I see, I want to put it on paper.
Right.
So for the last 45 years, that's what I've been doing.
Wow.
It's been all about images of black folks.
Right.
Like the little baby sleep, serenity.
Right.
This my bag, the little kid with a bad look on his face, and he got his bag in his hand. And the sharecropper, the only way out. Nobody plays with me.
Right.
Images that I see within our black community every day, but a lot of people don't pay any attention to, especially during the era when I was coming up. What we had was a lot of minstrel art. We had black folks with tar on their face and white lips.
Right.
And that wasn't in my house.
Right.
It didn't exist in my house.
Right.
So, although we were poor, but it wasn't there. What was there was, a mother loving his child. My uncle hugging me and my brothers, making sure that we did the right thing.
Right.
And there was a lot of love in that house with all the people.
Right.
So as an artist, I found my niche kind of early. I found out that I can create positive images of black people what other people didn't see. And at some point, who knows, I might get lucky and show it to some people. So I end up getting lucky.
Right.
So that's that era back in Washington, D.C., over in Orleans Place, Northeast.
Right.
And I'll never forget the day when this guy came over to my house. Matter of fact, I was on this TV show. I'll never forget this because this was actually a turning point. Because I didn't know I was poor.
Wow.
Until somebody drove up to my house in a limousine.
Huh.
A black man.
Right.
With a suit on.
Right.
So it was so interesting because he had saw me on this TV show called PM Magazine. And I was like 18 years old, so they were so excited about interviewing me on Channel 4. Because of these drawings, they were all over the place, My mother used to fix hair. And one of the ladies' hair that she used to fix used to come over to my house, sit in the kitchen, get her hair fixed, and it's just amazed at all this drawings and stuff that was all in this house.
Right.
Similar to the way it is down here.
Right.
So anyway, so she would happen to be a producer on PM Magazine. And she got this job, and she called my mother and said, listen, I want somebody to interview your son. And from that day on, my life had changed. Because somebody found out that this kid draws.
Right.
But my mother knew it had been happening ever since I was born.
Right.
At the age of 18, it turned out that from that day on, people would be calling me from all over the country after they saw the TV show. Like, wow, man, I made a living. I started making a living off of this stuff.
Wow. So, where was you born?
1951.
1951.
January 11th.
January 11th.
Northeast Washington, D.C. at 12 o'clock. Wait, D.C. General Hospital.
D.C. General. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
They toned it down since.
Yeah, definitely. And so what high school did you go to?
Went to Dunbar, went to Turl, went to Ludlow Taylor Elementary School. Everything, back in the day, you go to wherever the school is closest to your home.
Right.
So
that's before they would start busting everybody out, right?
I swear to God, I didn't even know that there was anything other than Northeast DC. I didn't know that there was a Capitol Hill, you know, because that's what we had to be.
Right.
Church, school, grocery store, like a little corner store.
Right.
But it was cool. It was cool for me because, you know, I mean, that was, back in them days, it was tight.
Yes.
You know?
But that's what built the character.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think so. I didn't have, you know, I mean, I'm admiring what these young kids are doing now. I mean, they have access to information.
Right.
Boy, if I had them when I was young, oh my gracious.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, technology.
But at the same time, a lot of the artists and visual artists, poets, people that you talk to, they would tell you that they didn't want the tools. They didn't need the tools around them. You created the tools.
Right.
You know, we built our own skate truck.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
We took hand-me-downs and we made something out of it. So that stimulated the mind to think outside of the box.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, you know, if I had to do it that way, excuse me, I would do it again.
Right.
Exactly that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And, you know, dealing with, you know, when you was growing up, did you get caught into the whole hype of segregation? Is that motivating you? I see it in your pictures, all the struggle.
What was so interesting, I'll never forget this day. I was 14 years old when the word was out that there were thousands and thousands of black people coming to Washington, D.C. So me and a couple of friends of mine, we were curious. We wanted to find out where all these black people, you know?
Right.
They were downtown. They were at the Jefferson Memorial.
Right.
We got there at 9 o'clock that morning, and we stayed all day. And them signs that people were carrying called March on Washington, it was a whole bunch of us under this tent making them signs.
Wow.
I spent my whole day making the signs, along with thousands of people. I mean, a lot of people were up under that tent,
right.
silk screen signs, so all the hundreds of thousands of people could carry them signs.
Right.
So, you know, that was a day that I'll never forget, because that's the day the king made that speech. And I was right there, man. I was right there at the bottom steps of the Jefferson Memorial with my back turned while he was speaking. I didn't even know who he was. Wow. All I know is the man spoke, and there was thousands of black people out there. It was a heck of a day, and I see it very clearly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you saw the Million Man March?
Oh, yeah.
Did that bring back some?
Oh, it did. It did. We've been stereotyped. You know, black men have been stereotyped forever. And to be out there at that Million Man March, was 25 years later, it was something to see, man. I mean, I'll never forget the time when Farrakhan told everybody to donate $1. And when he did that, it seemed like all them people on Capitol Hill just left their office, and the helicopter started coming around, because, you know,
looking for something to happen. Right.
I'll never forget that. But it was, you could hear a pin drop out there, a million men out there, you could hear a pin drop, because everybody was attesting.
And I felt the connection. You know, it's a spiritual thing. If you had to be there to be able to experience it, and I felt the power of it, you know.
Right.
And so, in your work, you deal with struggle. I'm looking at all your work. It's magnificent. So,
you call it struggle.
What do you call it?
I call it culture.
Okay.
Because what I see and what I try to create in my pictures is something that I see every day.
Environment.
Exactly. The black light.
Right.
Now, every now and then I would go outside of my thinking and do something that has to do with struggle.
Right.
And this one piece that I have, it's called The Only Way Out. You know, she's standing in the fields with a book up on her arm, a cotton field.
Wow.
With a book up on her arm, and that book represents something. But she knows she's on her way out of it.
Right.
You follow me?
Yes.
And then I have the guy in the sharecropper. sharecropping the land that he's been working all them years and would never own it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, I tell a story through culture and through life as it really is.
Right.
You know, I mean, I can go on and go on about images. I mean,
Right.
I even throw in those Native American pieces, you know, some inspirational pieces like Catch Me If I Fall, Let Us Pray,
Right.
Hallelujah.
Right.
You know, it's a variety of things.
Right. I'm excited because, you know, once, you know, we do this, we're going to go, you know, through your whole art that you have down here to let everybody see. You know, I'm excited to do that. But, okay, so, you know, you got motivated to do art. You found out, when did you find out that this was what you wanted to do?
When I was 18. Well, I didn't know I could make a living from it, number one. I was a kid, so I'm growing up doing this stuff.
Right.
And I had not a clue. And I had no intentions of making a living from it.
Right.
All I know is that I love to draw,
Right.
paint, and do pastels.
Right.
And, you know, where I come from, you know, not too many people did that. You know?
Right.
So,
Right.
but it was in me to do this. And when I got that one TV show, you know, it's like all of a sudden people just started, you know, coming over to the house, calling, trying to get in touch with me. And I sold a lot of artwork off of my walls.
Oh.
And at that point, I saw that I could make a living on it.
Right.
And this one guy that came over to my house, his name was Adolphus Ely. He was an art curator from Howard University.
Right.
And like I said, he came over in his limousine in a clean suit. Like, this guy would literally, he walked in and said he wanted to meet me. And from that day, he went out to McDonald's, he went to all these major corporations, and they got projects for me to do.
Wow.
These projects was paying like $4,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 back in
the day?
Back in the 70s,
Ooh.
80s.
Wow.
I mean, these projects was huge.
Right.
So all of a sudden now I feel like a rich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, back then, yeah.
And you know, Burrell Advertisement up in Chicago.
Yeah.
They got a few assignments. They commissioned me to do some assignments.
Right.
So Adolphus served as an agent for me.
Right.
Because my style was so unique, and it stretched out a little.
Right.
Yeah.
And so from that, did anybody actually inspire you, or you just found out that this is your craft?
I started searching for people that did what I do. And one artist that I found, his name was Charles White. He was out of Greenwich, Connecticut. And I'm sorry, he was out of New York, in the Village.
Right.
Charles White images were so strong and powerful. I mean, you felt the skin wrap around the bone.
Right.
You know, I mean, you felt the emotions, you know, the gestures in the body. You
Right.
know, everything worked.
Right.
And it was of black people.
Right.
But he worked in a charcoal, and I worked in graphite.
Okay.
So, you know, I just loved his style so much. And
Right.
I had, you know, I worked hard towards getting to that, what we call in the art world, super realism, which takes years
Right.
to actually get control of it.
Right.
So, Charles White, excuse me, was the man. It's getting overlooked. But
And-
Charles White was the man.
Now, did you go to school, like from high school? Did you go to college?
No. I'm self-taught.
Self-taught.
Completely as an artist.
Wow. Self-taught.
Oh yeah. Even, you know, if you look in my office, you'll see I'm learning something every day. One thing I do buy is materials to work with.
Right.
And books. And books.
And it's interesting how books are digital now.
Yeah,
You don't have
right.
to carry all these books and have all the bookshelves and everything. You carry your iPad, you straight.
Right.
You know, so which piece of art you are fond of the most?
Well, the one piece that I'm really emotional is The Only Way Out. That's the title of it. Because I was able to pull in an idea. And when you see the image, you'll understand. You know, black folks work in new fields. Hard.
Yes.
You know, going back to slavery, you know, it was all about the money.
Right.
In the sharecropping part, you know, it was all about trying to have a place to live and eat
Yes.
and raise your family.
Yes.
But everybody in that field wasn't happy.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
it's like, you know, back, during that era, when I create a picture, I try to put myself in that space. You know, I try to understand from a mental standpoint what was going on, what was it like.
Right.
You know, we're talking, you know, some hard times.
Yes.
Depressions, you know, academic depression. But what's interesting is this lady in the field, she always have her head up. Number one, she
Right.
has pride.
Right.
She might not be dressing all pretty and fancy.
Right.
And everybody around her is sweating and pulling that cotton and pulling the roots.
Right.
But she got that book. And that book makes a statement. That book either represents either her faith in the Lord,
Right.
or that she's going out to get educated.
Right.
But whatever it is, she's going to break that chain.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the image, you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
She's getting ready to get out of it.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right.
That's one of the most emotional pieces that I've done.
Right.
The complicated piece is a piece I did called Let Us Pray.
Okay.
And that's of hands reaching for each other. And it's a little story behind that, but the hands are very complicated to draw. They've always been that way for me because I'm a realist.
Right.
So, you know, you can't draw a hand and have a bone broke or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Or vein in the wrong place. You know?
Right. So when you have these pieces, is it a vision?
It is. I'll never forget, and I have to tell you this little story. Artists are emotional people by nature. And we tend to work off of what we feel. If we feel a strong emotion, then something's going to happen.
Right.
Either we're going to write a poem,
Right.
we're going to write a song,
Right.
we're going to paint a picture,
Right.
or we're going to draw a picture.
Right.
We're going to do some graphics, we're going to shoot some photography,
Right.
you know, we're going to play some jazz.
Yes.
That's what this artist is all about,
Right.
emotions.
Right.
And when you master your craft, you're able to call up these emotions when you want to.
Right.
It's called inspiration. It's
Mhm.
called trying to find a new subject matter.
Mm.
Sometimes, I mean, I'm driving 12 hours to Birmingham, Alabama to do an art show.
Really?
And I'm 8 hours driving.
Right.
So, you know, rather than being tired, my mind is thinking. Okay,
Right.
I'm getting ready to draw up an emotion.
Right.
So I got this little kid in my head, and he got this bad look on his face, but he's a cute little boy.
Right.
But he's only 2 years old, but he looked like he's getting ready to kick somebody's butt. Because what happens, he got this camera bag, and he's not going to let nobody have it.
Right.
So if you try to take it, you know, he ain't cute no more. You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
gets loud, he gets ugly.
Right.
You know. But anyway, I drew up that emotion, and by the time I got to the art show that I was doing in Birmingham, I was ready to go. I was ready to create that little artist, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part, excuse me, of being an artist, is that when you control your medium, you can draw up these emotions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. That's a special, you gotta be special
Yeah.
just to, you know, have it, whatever's in your head, and to be able to draw it and put it, express it on paper. You know, you gotta be very special to do that.
It takes, and I tell all young people, you know, if you're going to be an artist,
Right.
whether it's a musician, songwriter,
Mhm.
it's going to take you 10 years of your life to master or get control over your medium,
Right.
because there's so many mistakes you're going to make.
Right.
So if you don't have a passion for it, don't even
Try it.
Leave it alone.
It's
Leave it
gonna
alone.
take time.
Yeah, right. Leave it alone.
Wow. So dealing with your accomplishments, let's start with some exhibits that you've done, and which ones were more, you know, meaningful to you.
I've been blessed, you know, I've been blessed to have some one-man shows. You know, I've shown at the Martin Luther King Library in Birmingham, Alabama.
Was that your first one?
No. I've had a lot of shows,
Okay.
but certain places just had meaning.
Right.
You know, I'm sitting in the museum in Birmingham, and I'm learning. You know, not only am I showing my work, but I'm meeting a lot of people.
Right.
And watching things going on in the museum. I mean, they were interviewing people that were 105 years old, you know, telling the story about the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
I walk across the street to 16th Street Baptist Church, and I see the explosion happening, and all of this good stuff was going on while I was doing an art exhibit,
Right.
which they paid for me to go be there.
Right.
You know, so I was being entertained at the same time I'm doing an art exhibit, and I felt really empowered being there because that's who I am,
Right.
black man first,
Right.
and an artist.
Right.
You see, so
Right.
so that show was really it meant a lot to me. I was there for 30 days. I had a chance to
Wow.
look at a lot of the archives, information about how the civil rights movement began.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And you know, that art show meant a lot to me.
Right.
Now I've shown it. You know, I've had shows at the executive office building. Reagan requested my work at one time.
Really?
President Reagan, when he was in office.
Wow.
Bob Levy, I did a piece with Ronald Reagan. Bob Levy gave it to Reagan. In return, they gave me a show at the executive office building.
Really?
You know, I got a lot of publicity.
Wow.
You know.
That had to be special for you, right?
It was good, but that's political.
Right, all the way.
You know, it was good. You know, little kid coming from the hood.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know, got a piece at the Reagan's house. You know?
Right,
I mean,
right.
That's okay.
That's a huge accomplishment.
That's okay.
Definitely a huge
You know,
accomplishment.
but there's been a lot of good things. You know,
Mhm.
I've traveled a lot around the country doing art shows,
Mhm.
art festivals.
Mhm.
I used to almost live in Atlanta. You know?
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Right. So, some of the places that you've done your artwork at, some of the exhibits, do they have some type of pieces there, or?
Well, the way it works is you go in and you set up your exhibit. You have a reception.
Mhm.
Either you get a sponsor, you're there for like 30 days. Your stuff is insured. You know. Then you have a reception where the public comes in and you talk, you meet, and you sell.
Mm.
And after the 30 days, I take the work down and come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes I would go out to places in Philly and set up my exhibit, and I would sit there and draw for 30 days.
Wow.
Just creating art
Right.
while people come to me and buy
Right.
these art festivals. So I
Yeah.
did a lot of that over the last 40 years.
Right. Right.
So it's a lot of stuff for an artist. I mean,
Yeah.
if you really reach out there, there's a lot of things artists can do to keep busy.
Right. Right. So that definitely was good for you financially.
Oh yeah. I was. My wife will tell you, you know, and it's not. I remember some days, you know. I remember some days.
Rough, man.
Yeah, I remember some days when things was really bad and we were trying to get going, and you know, boom, things just started happening.
Right. Right.
And I remember some good things. You
Right.
know, when I remember some good years when I would see 1 million people a year.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I'm 62 years old now. I can't
Right.
get out like that anymore.
Right.
But you understand, I would
Right.
literally be in front of the public all year round,
Wow.
all over the country.
All over the country.
Yeah.
What about some countries that you have used?
I haven't had any shows abroad, but I have collectors that
Okay.
have purchased. I have worked in Europe. I have worked in Africa. People that have seen me
Right.
at places and things around this country, they purchase and I ship stuff to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know like any celebrities you know who have your collected your
Right.
work?
Right. You know, Bill Cosby had my whole jazz collection.
Oh, okay.
You know, like some of these people, man. Oh, there is Dr. William King.
Okay.
A friend of mine out of Philadelphia. He purchased a whole collection. I'm gonna tell you a little story of Dr. King.
Right.
This is a doctor that had about 3 or 4 medical centers.
Okay.
Brother in Germantown, Philadelphia.
Right.
So I'm sitting in the mall at the King of Prussia, right?
Right. King Prussia.
And I'm the only black guy in there. All the artists was white. All the artists was white. So they were doing abstracts, you know,
Right.
watercolors, pretty stuff.
Yes.
You know, and I'm sitting up there drawing these black images, right?
Right,
So Dr.
right.
King comes in there, he looks at me, come one day, look around, didn't say nothing. I didn't bother him, but
Right.
you know, here comes Sunday. This guy came back Sunday and bought $30,000 worth of artwork from me. Right? Wait, whoa.
What?
Whoa, let me tell you the story. He sat there and picked out collections for his medical centers. Then he gave me a private show at his mansion in Philly. And guess what? The group that I was with at that time was called the Master Artist Tour.
Okay.
So I'm the only black person in the show. right?
Okay.
This tour been going on for 20 years.
Okay.
So I got in, and now I'm doing my thing as a black man, right?
Right.
Let me tell you, man, that Sunday before we tore down, word was all the way up in Boston that John Nelson just sold $30,000 worth of art. In other words, I made history that day.
King.
Dr. King bought it. He paid cash and said, look.
Is that when you first met him?
No, I had met him that Saturday.
Okay.
But he came
Back and bought.
and bought everything. Twice.
And then from there, that's when the relationship started with the family, everything. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
So they have your artwork.
Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Danny Glover?
Danny Glover, he has a jazz piece. Gosh, who else? It's a whole bunch
Oh,
of
you
them.
got
I got NAACP headquarters in
AT&T.
Baltimore. Pete Blaylock, he's out of Connecticut. I
Okay.
used to spend a lot of time up in Connecticut.
Right.
Richard Pryor, he bought
Richard.
several pieces. Art Monk,
Art Monk?
yeah, Art Monk bought, he had the sharecropper. Yeah. But
No, all your pieces one of a kind? And you,
no, they're limited edition.
Okay.
They're signed and numbered, and they come with a certificate of authenticity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's definitely good to know.
But it's a.
It goes on and on.
I put the special people in this.
The ones that you fond of, right? So let's talk about some of the awards.
It's been good. It's been good. As a black man, being an artist, and I have to say this because no matter who you are, you can become successful in something. You don't
Right.
have to worry about whatever color of skin you are. If you work hard at it,
Yes.
something's going to happen.
Something.
Yeah, and sometimes you might not receive your rewards and your accolades
Right
at
then.
the time,
Right.
but eventually it will.
Right. That's where the faith comes in.
Yeah,
Right?
oh yeah, because when you sit down and you're working and you know you're going to work 2 or 3 months on something,
Right.
you better make sure that you be able to stick with it to the end, because when it's finished, most likely it's going to be a masterpiece.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then it's out of my hands.
Right.
For the public to say whether they like it or not, but then
Right.
I don't care because I
Because
done
you-
my thing.
right.
My heart and soul is there.
Right.
But give you an interesting. I had a show up in Connecticut,
Okay.
and this was at the State House.
Right.
And this lady, she happened to be a Delta. She called and said, "Mr. Nelson, I want to get you to show these people in Connecticut your work."
Right.
So she set up the show. Everything was worked out perfect, right?
Right.
So anyway, we had a reception, and the mayor came,
Right.
and I didn't know this, but the mayor sat there and gave me a proclamation, and he called it John Nelson Day.
Really?
It's like, wow,
So-
I must have been the only black person in Connecticut, man. You know what I mean?
That's
And then
Wow.
I got this proclamation saying John Nelson Day, so I know it's I think it's May the 1st, every year, there is a John Nelson Day.
Is that right?
Yeah, man, I show it to you.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. Wow.
So,
Wow.
back in the day when I was,
Now what year is that?
this was back in 84, 85,
Wow.
something like that, 84.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But back in them days, people were hungry for
Something
different, And my timing was right.
Right.
I had been working all my life to create strong images, and my timing was right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you and your family. I'm excited for your fans. I'm excited because I can't wait to, show the people the newest project. That's off the hook. Believe you me, history is being made again. He's at it again. And which is real good. And now, if you had to tell someone what drives you, what would you say?
Wow. Well, it can't be money, number one, because that's the easy way out.
Right.
I guess I have to challenge myself to find perfection. That's a good question too, because I'm gonna tell you, when you go through life, you had choices. You could go get your doctor's degree, your master's, you can master law, all these things.
Right.
But there are people like myself, I know we're out here because I know them, I know who they are.
Right.
They're challenging their inner spirit constantly.
Right.
You know, from writing that song, you know, developing, you know, some riffs on a keyboard.
Right.
You know, painting, you know, bringing these different colors together to make one thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was graphite,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and trying to perfect it.
That's right.
You know, that's all I want to do, because I know that if you work hard at it,
Mm-hmm.
and if you perfect it,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be rewarded.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
right.
automatic.
Right.
You follow me?
Yes.
But you can't. You have to find something that you're passionate about in life.
Yes.
You can't go through life not loving something.
Right.
You know, I mean, I watch you. I watch you get set up here. You know,
Right.
there's a love for this stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it drives you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and you know, we can't always expect to get rich off of nothing. But if we can create something,
Right.
that's our reward.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yes. If somebody can benefit from something that you bring into the table, and they maybe can even change their life.
Exactly.
And you know, that's
Exactly.
that. You know, I never thought that Testimony TV would be what it is today, and it's all about somebody's testimony. Somebody's hearing your testimony today. They're going to be inspired to want to be an artist.
I'm down in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm doing an art show. And all these people around me look like they were ready to lynch my ass. I'm not going to lie.
Wow.
I say the wrong word.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
But this one lady came over, and before she even got to my booth, I could see the water in her eyes. You know why? Because she had never in her life seen a black man do any artwork, a black subject.
Right.
And she sit there and she boo-hooed. And I've experienced this.
Right.
I've experienced the fact that people have felt what I did.
Right. So how did that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like it's all worth it.
Right.
You know, nobody can.
You can't put a price tag on it.
You can't put a price tag on that. You know, I mean, I sit up here and listen to Stevie's lyrics. When I listen to how Stevie wanted to put his lyrics together and what he's doing,
Right.
I like it. I like it. I like it so much that I can hear it over
Over and over
again.
Right.
Because it creates that emotion.
Right.
That's what art is.
Exactly.
That's what art is.
Exactly.
It creates an emotion.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Just like music.
Exactly. You know, at a point, a creative mind have to be careful. You know, you get, and it's happening all over. It's happening everywhere. You can take these creative thoughts and turn them into something so bad that can do so much harm.
Isn't that amazing?
You know, you can take colors. Certain colors you match together can create a bad feeling.
Right.
You could take music notes.
And
Certain notes you put together as a chord
Right.
can create evil.
Right.
Because we have these senses, man.
Right.
So either you're gonna use it right,
Right.
or you're gonna use it wrong.
Right. Right.
You know?
Wow. Wow.
Make any sense?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Your testimony tonight is something inspiring. Just sitting here with you, I feel that I'm a part of history. Why I say that is because I've done a lot of these interviews, and so, but I'm looking around and seeing everything that I've seen, and this it's inspiration, it's motivational, it's spiritual, it's enlightening, it's everything. I'm just looking at it, this is amazing down here, you know, and this is like your little haven. I know it is like your little haven, a man cave, right? we gotta have it, right?
Right.
We're gonna take a view of his man cave, and I'm telling you, it's beautiful down here. You seeing him in raw, your studio, and also we saw Miles Davis.
Yeah.
How about that piece? Explain to them about this Miles Davis piece, man. This is amazing.
We we were in LA one time, me and a buddy of mine, David Perry. He used to be my right hand man. I mean, you know, he could sell my work in LA, California. He even got a job as a what do they call it? When you fly on airplanes. As a stewardess.
Yeah.
Just so he can sell artwork around the country.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So he can fly free.
He can fly free and sell the artwork. So we went through a period, man, 20 years, you know, getting things done.
Right.
So he ran into Billy D. Williams one time, and Billy D. Williams is an artist.
He is.
Right.
He is.
So David said, "Look, man, I got this buddy of mine in D.C. that I want you to meet."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Bring him on." So he said, "But the only problem is you gotta have to have Miles at your place when Nelson get in town, because Billy D. Williams fell in love with my work."
Right.
So he ended up calling and saying, "Look, Nelson, I'm gonna have Miles here Wednesday at this club called the Nucleus Nuance, right?"
Okay.
So me and David, we set it up. So I had this drawing of Miles called the Miles Mask.
Okay.
And he had this pouch. I'll show it to you, but he
Okay.
had this pouch, and in this pouch, that was a little smoke bag.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I knew if I gave it to Miles, he was going free.
Right.
So I gave Miles this piece, man. We set up at the Nucleus, and we started talking,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, 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 boom. I gave Miles a piece. He said, "Man, this is some great bleep, bleep, bleep," right?
Right.
And he said, "I got something for you," right? He gave me, you know, in return, because he knew I was coming, he gave me a little painting that he did.
Okay.
Because he was an artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he painted
Wow.
oils.
Is that right?
Yeah, man.
I don't know if did anybody know that?
Yeah, people know it.
Okay.
Oh, a certain group of people know that Miles was an experimental artist.
Right.
Because, you know, if you listen to his music, you know he was abstract.
Yes,
So his work was abstract.
Right.
But anyway, so we exchanged pieces, got a chance to get to photograph and all that. And
Right.
Then I remember Dizzy Gillespie, you know, Ray Brown, and all those guys.
Right. Wow.
But that was a good day because, you know, I had a chance to meet Billy D. Williams, go to his club, hang out with him and Miles. I mean, you don't get that too often.
Right. Let's talk about Man of Courage. Let's talk about this book that you are in, and it seems that you have a lot of you know, I was in A Man Called Hawk, right?
Yeah.
That was shot at.
You were in it?
Yes.
What?
At the Como Station.
Yeah.
He was. Avery Brooks said, "You need to come on to L.A. and be Bill Duke's double."
Uh-huh.
But at that particular time, I was playing ball, right? I said, "Nah, I ain't gonna do that, right?" You know, so, you know, but I ended up meeting Bill Dukes at Tim Reeves' production studio in Petersburg. I was in Links too with Pam Grier.
What?
Yeah. So you know, all that was it was really good. But
this guy is brilliant. Avery is brilliant,
man.
He's a heck of a piano player, man.
Is he?
Oh my gracious, he's strictly blue note. You know, he's old school.
Yeah. Avery, this dude, man, is powerful. Man Called Hawk is a classic.
It's a classic.
If y'all didn't know, Man Called Hawk was a classic. Avery Brooks. So let's talk about this book and some of the people that's in this book and you know.
This was a high point also. I you know, people like Gerald Bugsby. He was at the time the president of Motown. Yeah, Avery Brooks. You know, you had people. You know, Donnie Simpson.
Donnie Simpson?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
wow.
Donnie and I mean, I've seen him lately. And we all talk about this.
Okay.
But what Nestle did, this was so cool. Right after the riots, the Rodney King riots,
right.
Nestle put together a group of black men from all over the country.
Right.
And they included me in that list, man. They included me in that list.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, I'm here in LA with all of these guys, man. You know?
Right.
And we were asked to come out there and spend 3 days. And we were supposed to go into places like Watts, you know.
Wow.
And all of the at-risk areas.
Right.
According to the riots.
Right.
We did that.
Right.
We went to schools. We talked to high school students. We
right.
talked to elementary school students. And you're talking about a bus full of famous black men.
Right.
And I'm in there with them. You know,
how did that make you feel?
It was awesome, man. I mean, it's like, you know.
Did you feel like it's like I think I've accomplished what I need to accomplish.
These are the little things. I don't worry about, as a human being, as an artist, I'm not as good as my last creation.
Right.
So that's my mindset.
Right.
But to be in, every now and then something jumps out there.
Right.
This was one, because the fact that, all of a sudden I wake up and I'm out here with these guys,
Right.
and these guys are, internationally known.
Right.
So,